going to start the anterior pituitary and growth hormone. So first we need to understand where the pituitary is present in our body. So in our brain we have hypothalamus region. So actually this is called thalamus. This is called subthalamus, and in the front we have the mammillary body, and that mammillary body extends into the mainly posterior pituitary. Remember that the posterior pituitary is coming from the nervous part, so it's also called as pars nervosa, whereas the anterior pituitary originates mainly from the Rathke's pouch of pharyngeal part. So we will learn from where everything comes. So first, to understand where it is located, and here we have some lateral geniculate body, or also called as metathalamus. So that this is a forebrain, midbrain, and we have hindbrain. So now let us start with our discussion. So pituitary is present below the hypothalamus. So this is the hypothalamus, and below you have pituitary. This is a posterior pituitary, and this is the anterior pituitary. And yeah, median eminence is present over here in between them. I will show the perfect diagram in the textbook. There we can see. So anterior superior part of the midbrain, this extend forward up to the gray matter, that is the optic chiasma. This is called hypothalamus. So here you can see this anterior part extend forward up to like gray matter of optic chiasma. Optic chiasma is where eyes, both eyes meet, that is optic chiasma, and here optic nerves meet, that is optic chiasma. So till there this will go, and this is called hypothalamus. So this extension towards backward is nothing but the hypothalamus. And pituitary stalk is under surface of median swelling called median eminence, and lateral swellings are called mammillary bodies, and pituitary stalk gives rise to anterior and posterior lobes. And the middle is rudimentary. The middle portion is rudimentary. That's why it has end here only. So you can see this is a hypothalamus. Hypothalamus, here on the sides you have the mammillary body, and up it's actually on the third ventricle, and below this you have the median eminence. This is the median eminence, and this is the posterior pituitary, posterior lobe. This is the anterior pituitary. So now let us start understanding first the posterior pituitary. So posterior pituitary is the extension of central nervous system. It's invagination of neural swelling. So they mainly have pituocytes, which are modified at astrocytes, and thalamus, subthalamus, metathalamus, pineal gland, all these are derivatives of diencephalon and even hypothalamus pituitary. So thalamus, subthalamus, metathalamus, pineal gland, hypothalamus, pituitary, all these are mainly derived from the diencephalon. And anterior pituitary, now today our main discussion is on anterior pituitary and growth hormone. So anterior pituitary mainly develop as evagination from nasopharynx upward, eventually comes close to posterior pituitary. So mainly it's arranging from the nasopharynx evagination and form the anterior lobe of pituitary gland, and the pouch from which it arises is called Rathke's pouch. And anterior pituitary, they are mainly having the epithelial cell. So remember that Rathke's pouch. From Rathke's pouch, especially the upward evagination of nasopharynx or anterior pituitary is formed, whereas posterior pituitary is direct connection of central nervous system. Anterior pituitary now comes from the Rathke's pouch and attaches here. So next, hypothalamus. Hypothalamus to posterior pituitary, it's actually having a neural connection, because it's like a neuronal part, right? So it will have the neural connection from the hypothalamus to the posterior pituitary, whereas from the hypothalamus to the anterior pituitary, it has a vascular connection, because it's not the neural part of a pituitary gland. So it has very important. Hypothalamus to anterior pituitary, vascular connection, whereas hypothalamus to posterior pituitary, we have the neural connection. So our pituitary gland mainly it stays in a sella turcica. It's a bony plate. So in a sella bony pit like structure, where this pituitary gland lies, and you can see the bony pocket on which the pituitary sits is called sella turcica. And next, so from anterior side you can see this is where the sella turcica is present. So relationship between hypothalamus and posterior pituitary. Now let us start what I said. Mainly as we discussed, from hypothalamus to posterior pituitary mainly we'll have the neural connection, whereas from hypothalamus to anterior pituitary we'll have the vascular connection. So hypothalamus and posterior pituitary both are neuronal tissues, and collection of neuronal cell bodies are nothing but nucleus. Their axons pass down from the supraoptic nucleus, move downward and end up in the posterior pituitary. So mainly we have two types of nucleus which are present. Nucleus are nothing but the Supraoptic, yeah. Nucleus, nothing but neuronal cell bodies collection. Neuronal cell bodies collection is nucleus which are present in hypothalamus. So mainly in hypothalamus we have supraoptic nucleus and paraventricular nucleus. So from this nucleus the axons will come and give the connections to the posterior pituitary mainly. So their nerve endings are full of secretory granules. They contain antidiuretic hormone or also called vasopressin, right? And ADH is a peptide hormone where its synthesis take place. So whenever you hear the word peptide hormones means which have less than 100 amino acids, right? Its synthesis takes place mainly in the supraoptic nucleus and are released down the axons by vesicles and reach the nerve endings, and due to calcium influx exocytosis occur and release into the circulation. So actually mainly supraoptic you can remember as AS because ADH is coming from supraoptic, so short form AS. So from supraoptic nucleus mainly this ADH vesicles are formed, and by exocytosis process they'll enter the blood vessel so that ADH is released into the circulation. And ADH acts on the last part of the nephron which is converted mainly with antidiuretic. You know already ADH function in our renal physiology we have discussed, but once again let us recollect it. In the last part of nephron, you know, especially in a collecting duct, what the ADH does is it does the reabsorption of water and solutes by means of mainly aquaporin, two channels which are present on the lumen side. So we also have another nucleus, paraventricular nucleus, and they have the neurons of its own. It's also synthesize a peptide hormone which also go to posterior pituitary mainly by axons. So they also have the secretory granules and release mainly oxytocin hormone. So remember posterior pituitary is a direct connection of central nervous system. So by means of nerves, axons only from the two nucleus of hypothalamus like supraoptic nucleus, paraventricular nucleus, their secretory granules come here and they release. So only two hormones are released mainly from our posterior pituitary. From supraoptic nucleus ADH, from paraventricular nucleus oxytocin. So oxytocin is mainly milk letting out hormone, means from the breast during milk feeding to the baby, especially after pregnancy. This oxytocin is released in a female for feeding the baby, and also helpful in the uterine contraction during parturition or the labor of the baby. So 90% of supraoptic nucleus produce ADH and 90% of paraventricular nucleus produce oxytocin, but the 10% of paraventricular nucleus also have a capacity to produce ADH. We know normally supraoptic nucleus produce ADH, right? But paraventricular nucleus also have a 10% capacity to produce ADH, but 90% it produces only oxytocin. The same is also true for the case of supraoptic nucleus. 90% it produces ADH and 10% it also have a chance of producing oxytocin. So the connective tissue in posterior pituitary are modified astrocytes or pituocytes. This is important. These are also like macrophages like cells, pituocytes, astrocytes which are present in between this in between these nerves. And the relationship between hypothalamus and anterior pituitary. So till now we have completed the relationship between hypothalamus with the posterior pituitary, which is a neuronal connection with the supraoptic nucleus, paraventricular nucleus. Now let us see what is the connection between the hypothalamus and our anterior pituitary. So anterior pituitary, so again we have drawn the diagram. So you can see it has some short neurons, it has subhypothalamic artery, it has hypothalamic arteries. Did you remember that I said in the anterior pituitary it has vessel connection with blood vessels. So mainly we have three blood vessels here. Superior hypothalamic artery, hypothalamic artery is also called as inferior hypothalamic. So actually these are the hypothalamic arteries which are supplying the hypothalamus. So they are divided into superior hypothalamic artery and inferior hypothalamic artery. So only two arteries are present. These arteries mainly receive the short neurons and they stimulate this so that the secretory products will be entering into the portal vein. Actually this portal vein is between, already we know what is portal vein. It's actually located between two capillaries. So this is a primary capillary, this is a secondary capillary, and that too this capillary is having so much fenestration so that whatever is passed will get released. So this is a portal vein. So you can see here the hypothalamic arteries make the fenestrated capillary network, make long and short hypothalamo-hypophyseal portal veins. So this is called as hypothalamo-hypophyseal portal veins because from the hypothalamus to the hypophysis, we also call it as hypophysis rise. We call it as adenohypophysis, right? So hypothalamo-hypophyseal portal vein, they collect the blood from the capillary system of hypothalamus and send it to the anterior pituitary. So you can see the venous channels break into capillary network in anterior pituitary and they drain into the systemic circulation. So the portal vein is in between the two capillary networks. So cells of anterior pituitary are controlled by certain factors of hypothalamus. Hypothalamic factors are released by short neurons into the primary capillary and they are carried by vascular system and influence the cells of anterior pituitary. So neurons are mainly in the preoptic nucleus release the gonadotropin releasing hormone. So remember we have already discussed in posterior pituitary, supraoptic nucleus and paraventricular nucleus. But coming to anterior pituitary, mainly we have the preoptic nucleus. That preoptic nucleus will send all the information to the anterior pituitary. So here you can see short neurons of mainly nucleus, preoptic nucleus release GnRH, that is gonadotropin releasing hormone, and by portal system they reach the anterior pituitary and go to the they'll later form the FSH and LH in circulation. So in male spermatogenesis, these are useful in males for spermatogenesis, testosterone production, whereas in female it's mainly useful for oogenesis, ovulation, for production of estrogen and progesterone. So mainly in the name itself you can say gonadotropin hormone, mainly used for the female and male production of this testosterone, estrogen, all this. And hypothalamus, this is called as hypothalamo-pituitary gonadal axis because from the hypothalamus it's coming to the anterior pituitary, from the anterior pituitary going to the gonads. So next we have ventromedial nucleus, which release mainly the growth hormone releasing and also at the same time inhibiting hormone. So ventromedial, so we have seen till now preoptic nucleus for the gonadotropal axis, whereas next we have ventromedial nucleus, which mainly release growth hormone releasing hormone, that is somatotropin, at the same time somatostatin also, that is inhibiting the hormone. So again they take up the portal system, reach the anterior pituitary, act on the growth hormone activator and negatively regulated by somatostatin. So growth hormone can act directly on the cells or act on the liver, form somatomedins which act on target tissue. So actually growth hormone have two pathways. It itself can directly act on the liver, or it will have another pathway, like in the liver it will go and it will convert into somatomedins, and these somatomedins will act on the target tissue. So from the paraventricular nucleus, so till now we have completed preoptic nucleus, gonadal axis, next ventromedial nucleus for the growth hormone activation and also inhibition, and now paraventricular nucleus, they mainly release the thyrotropic hormone. So this reaches anterior pituitary and acts on basophilic cell, which release the thyroid stimulating hormone, and this acts on the follicular cell of thyroid gland and produce mainly T3 and T4. So about thyroid we are going to see in detail in next classes, but remember it's coming from the paraventricular nucleus and the hypothalamus. So and also it's acting on basophilic cell, means it's a basic base cell. And paraventricular release corticotropin releasing hormone, which release mainly adrenocorticotropic hormone, that is ACTH. This acts on the zona fasciculata of adrenal gland, especially cortex of adrenal gland, which mainly release the glucocorticoids, which are also called as steroids, right? So remember, paraventricular nucleus has a capacity to form TSH, that is thyroid hormone. At the same time they can also produce glucocorticoids. So arcuate nucleus release a prolactin inhibitory factor. So this is very important. Till now we see all are stimulating factors, but arcuate nucleus is the one which can only inhibit the prolactin. So that is especially dopamine. So dopamine is reaching the anterior pituitary. It acts on inhibitory of prolactin and work on breast and increase the synthesis of milk and release of milk under the control of posterior pituitary hormone oxytocin. So whenever there is oxytocin, it also helps for prolactin. So you can see always it's kept inhibited. Prolactin is always kept inhibited because only when the female gets pregnant, then only she uses this prolactin. So only when there is inhibition of prolactin work on breast and increase. So whenever this is inhibited, means whenever this arcuate nucleus is not activated, then only prolactin will release and lead to secretion of milk from breast in female. So next we also have preoptic nucleus, ventromedial nucleus, paraventricular nucleus, arcuate. All have specialized neurons which release stimulatory and inhibitory factors passing through portal system and activate different target compounds. Some cells in anterior pituitary take stain lightly and they are called as chromophobic cells. These are poorly secreting cells. So remember, in anterior pituitary there are two types of cells. One are chromophobic, chromophilic. Chromophobic means they take light stain, whereas chromophilic means they are actively secreting cells. And these chromophilic cells are further divided into acidophilic cells and basophilic cells. Acidophilic cells are also called as lactotrophs, like prolactin. Prolactin is called as lactotrophs, growth hormone, somatotrophs. So remember, prolactin and growth hormone are acidophilic, means they have red color cells, whereas basophilic cells are TSH or thyrotropins, FSLH or gonadotropins, and ACTH or corticotrophins. So these are the basophilic cells, they have blue color.